He come out across a clearing from us, probably 150 yards we could see him. And as soon as he walked into the clearing, we were like, wow, like this is a nice moose. And he went nuts. He was fired up. He was ripping trees out of the ground. He was just going crazy.
Getting rough when I stop believing I'm not tough enough to be free. I just go on with you. That's when we know. That's when we go. When it's just us hunting.
That's it for Bruce here and just us hunting. Next up to bat's Carl Jones. So good luck, Carl.
Well, we finished shoot Bruce's moose. We got back to camp. We cleaned it up, and next day we had a few of our favorite spots, and we'd shot 2 moose in this area where we hunted, and we went back to the same tree that we've had really good luck in, and we set up tree stands and that, and we hunt out of tree stands mostly. The footage is better. Not to say you can't shoot them off the ground, but the footage is always better out of a tree, I think. And you can see better and your scent's better, and we just like it.
There's all kinds of obstacles you run into when you're moose hunting. These obstacles can either make or break your hunt. If you are the type that run into an obstacle and don't want to deal with it, you could be missing out on a fantastic spot. A lot of these places that we go to are washouts. Now when a lumber company pulls out, the ministry goes in and they take culverts, and that totally restricts the vehicle traffic. A lot of people, when they're on their quads or even just walking, they come to that obstacle and they're done. 9 times out of 10, we can get across there one way or another, whether it's building a bridge or finding an old beaver dam that might be a quarter mile away to get across it. Sometimes you put in an awful lot of work to get on the other side and it doesn't pay off. Sometimes you go in and it's just a moose mecca.
We try to find just a nice area. We don't really care about clear cuts. Like, I would sooner stay away from them myself. We like hunting the big bush, but we've had good luck just hunting the edges and that. And we try to get far from the road. Like, as I say, the one year I put 2,300 kilometers on my bike in 10 days. Like, it's a lot of driving.
One of our secrets is you get the old logging maps. And some of these logging maps are 30 years old, and it shows you all the strips, all the go-backs, all the winter roads, and during that time the moose are using them. So now we're talking 30-year growth on it, and you can drive by them and never ever see them. But we have these logging maps, the GPS coordinates are on it, so we'll end up going in there, and it's thicker than hair on a dog's back. It might be the matter of cutting a trail 50 yards, 100 yards, 150 yards. All of a sudden you're back onto an old road. These moose have been using these roads for 30 years. They're still using them, and they're only the width of a moose right now. So we find some dandy spots like that.
It just shows you what these ATVs could do. It's some of the terrain that we're looking for these moose. We're going all over the place. We're not just driving these regular roads. We're getting right into these old winter roads, these old cuts. There was one section we had ran into. We did I'd say about 3-4 kilometers just pushing down tag alters. You couldn't see about 25 feet in front of you.
This is incredible. Picture perfect morning. Absolutely nothing. You could hear a pin drop at 100 yards. Whoever said moose are big, dumb, and easy to hunt, they should be out here showing us how to do it. There's no doubt that we'll get another one. It's just when and who.
This segment brought to you by Lake Huron Chrysler. The tip of the week is brought to you by The Bear Essentials, your wilderness experience guides. Earlier this season, I talked about wearing a fall arrest system when you're putting up your tree stand for being safe. This week here, we're going to talk to you about one other safety feature that you really should be doing. When you hang up your stand into a tree, it's up to you now to put a secondary safety feature up there for you. And what I recommend, put another ratchet strap around your tree stand and tighten that up to the tree as well. Not only will that make your tree stand quieter and not move at all, but if the primary attachment to the tree stand were ever to malfunction, this one here is going to save your butt, and that's your Just Us Hunting tip of the week.
I'm Richard McQuaid, hunted with these guys for quite a few years now. Looked forward to it every year. It's a big deal for me. It's a big trip up. We're usually exhausted by the time we get there and then have to set up a huge camp. But it's all good. You're running on adrenaline and good times begin. I went to my tree stand one morning. It's a beautiful day and it was pretty quiet, like I wasn't hearing any moose, but the upside was a pine marten come along, and I don't see a lot of them being from the south. I got squeaking at him. He got very angry and he just started chattering, I guess, and teasing him. All of a sudden I hear a big branch break, like right behind me. And I know what that sound is. I've heard it many times. I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna shoot this moose. And he's coming in hard, grunting, come right in, but he's facing directly on, and he's not that big. He stood there for 20 minutes, so I decided I will give the other guys a chance. It's relatively early in the hunt. We all like to see each other succeed, so I'm sure they would do the same for me.
You know, you got a moose come up to you like that and just 12 yards. Shoot me, shoot me. Sorry, you don't meet my category anymore. It's like, I'm looking for the big guys. Well, if it was me, trust me, I would have put an arrow right in him. But that's Richard's decision. You know, I don't blame him for that. Okay, yes I do, really. That's all right.
That was the first moose I've ever passed up, and it was kind of a good feeling. Like, if you know you could have done it and you let him walk, there's some satisfaction in that for sure.
Well, anything?
I go back to camp, and one of the guys that I had saved this tag for, I suppose, missed a moose right about the same time, so I'm second guessing my decision at that point.
Well, Kevin, how was your morning?
Well, the little miss had a big miss.
So I was out there and I had picked a spot and it looked good, and so anyways I started calling and I got an answer, and he was coming, and I got a call again and he kept coming. I thought I was pretty calm. Anyways, he come walking along, and it took him probably 20 minutes from the time I heard him till he got there, and it felt like a lifetime.
I thought he was closer. They're pretty big. I shot right underneath him, and he just jumped about 2 steps and stood there and looked at me, and he's kind of behind a tree, and then he walked straight away.
I got it all myself, got the moose there and everything else. It's a memory I'll have. It is fun, and it is an adrenaline rush. And unfortunately, I don't have a camera, so I don't have any footage, but it's all in my head, and it's still there. I can still see it.
So, what kind of hat were you wearing?
Well, it's on the target butt right now. I know the routine. I got that down pat.
We have a thing in camp. If you shoot at a moose and you have a miss, then everybody gets to shoot at your hat at the same yardage. Kevin's hat was put out at 30 yards, and it looked more like a welding beanie by the time he was done.
Well, that's a pretty good morning so far. 3 hunters, 2 moose, 1 hat.
One hat. Well, that's priceless.
Like you say, Gary's a bit of a card, and Richard was out scouting one day. It was pouring rain, and we decided, heck with it. We got like 2 weeks of hunting.
It was rainy, and I actually went hunting. I wasn't scouting, I was hunting. Went to a stand, called all evening, and I actually had 4 bull grunts. It looked promising for a while, but nothing developed.
He was gone for a couple hours, and I heard him coming down the road with his bike. He's always just putting along, taking his time. And myself, with my little comic relief, I basically just dressed right down, right to my underwear and jumped in his sleeping bag and zipped it up.
They come back to camp and these guys had set me up.
Hey! Well, what's going on? Four answers? Really?
He's taking his jacket off and everything, and all of a sudden, I just slowly popped out of the sleeping bag and zipped it right open, and he was still talking to the boys. And by that time, I'd say about 2 minutes later, he just leaned right over, and there I was, partially naked. He got excited, of course.
Richard just about fell over backwards. Oh, it was pretty funny.
Happy birthday!
I shoot the odd moose. Gary, I don't know, he spends too much time hamming it up, I guess. We're waiting for his film of a moose. It happened. I got no more to say.
But the thing I'm gonna miss is that the good times I had with the boys. We had a lot of laughter, I'll tell you that. It's we're always joking with each other, and I think that's the big thing about this hunt. But like I said, I got the evening left for this hunt, and then tomorrow morning, then I head back home, back to work.
Got another good morning again, other than we got a little bit of a breeze. The calls, they got a good distance across the lake again. We're gonna try this area one more time. Yesterday, some of the boys had some action. Kevin had a nice bull come up to his stand. And then Richard also had one, a smaller bull, but he passed that one on. So, but today we'll see what happens. Perfect morning again. And some of us again should have some action this morning.
This segment brought to you by APA Bows. This one-time memory is brought to you by Lake Huron Chrysler, bringing the fun back into buying a vehicle.
I can remember this one time, 2 4-wheelers, 1 borrowed, following this great big bull moose, got pretty close, but of course, no tag. There we were following it, got the bike stuck. 4 hours later, out we are, draining the oil and everything, and that's a moment I'll never forget.
Well, we've been hunting moose for how long now? I think probably got to be 30 some years, at least for myself. And like I say, we've been pretty successful. And we're like everybody else when they started out moose hunting. We went 10 years and we couldn't seal the deal. We could get them in within 100 yards and that was it. But every moose is different and every moose likes something different. And sometimes it's a calf call, sometimes it's a bull grunt, sometimes it's just break a stick and he'll come in. And we're lucky we get to hunt right in the peak of the rut. And if you get one coming and he's within 100 yards and you don't make a man-made noise, they're coming. Like, they get committed and they come just like they're on a string.
Fishing lane's cut out to about 40 yards. If we get a moose walking in there tonight or tomorrow morning. It's hot.
We set up in this tree, and it's actually 2 little spruce trees. They're very small. The stands will just go in them, but it's a clear-cut area, and that's the only trees we had. We called the first night and an answer right away, but the moose was fairly slow coming in, and we basically sat there for probably 15 minutes after it got close to too dark to shoot and too dark to video, and we just left him alone, and he moseyed off over the hill, and we thought we'd give it a call in the morning, and we snuck back in there in the morning and called, and again he was there, and he come in again, but we just couldn't seem to get the right combination to get him to come, and so 3 times we called him in, and finally the 4th time, it was a morning, and he'd seemed to have been with cows, because we heard the odd cow bawl and that, and he must have been done with her, and we had the right call, and away he come, and he come out across a clearing from us, probably 150 yards we could see him, and as soon as he walked into the clearing, we were like, wow, like, this is a nice moose. And he went nuts. Like, it's a really good feeling on how a moose really reacts when he's in the rut. And he was fired up. He was ripping trees out of the ground. He was just going crazy. And he was slow coming in, but he was busy beating up all the trees in the area. He'd come 20 yards and then he'd beat another bunch of bushes and trees. And he came into the range just past 30 and he was sort of quartering to me and didn't really present a good shot. So we just left him and he stood there for a minute. And finally, Bruce was calling now. He gave a little grunt and the moose come ahead to about 20 and turned sideways. And looked like he was going to stop, but he kept walking, and in about 5 seconds, he was going to be in behind some big trees. The moose walked and stopped again, and I took the shot. My arrow ticked a little branch. We didn't see it until we reviewed the footage. You can just see the arrow, one of the little branches on a spruce tree moved, and I hit him a little far back. But he run about maybe 20 yards, and then we saw him go into a little clump of bush, and he stopped, and we didn't see any more. So we waited probably, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, and climbed down and found where he'd went, and a little blood trail on that, and we only walked probably 40 yards, and there he was laying there, and he was shot. It was a liver shot. He was a little far back, but he was done.
Well, I can hear Bruce and Carl's bike coming down the road 2 or 3 kilometers from here. It's that quiet. They're actually a little early, so wouldn't be surprised they got a bull down there coming back to get some help. It's been deathly quiet here. I'm gonna call it quits for this place, pack up everything and move out. If they did get a moose down, well, we're into some more work today.
2 moose in the same year and the same ease of getting them out. Well, we've been hunting this guy for 4 days and nights now, mornings and nights, and finally this morning he came in after quite a bit of rattling and 30-yard shot, and he ran about 50 yards and tipped over right on the bike trail here, so won't be too hard getting him out.
So we're going to cape it out. We're going to half this moose, and we're going to bring it back in half. We're not going to quarter this one. We got a truck available to us this time, so it's just a lot easier to do it back at camp. And the boys are well on their way into filling our freezers once again. Closed captioning brought to you by the Archery Place. Vehicle graphics supplied by Artec. The Hunter Profile is brought to you by APA. We are not the same.
Hi, I've been outfitting, trapping, hunting, fishing, and logging most of my life, so well over 40 years. My tools of the trade are a chainsaw, fishing rod, and rifle. I like to hunt any animals in the north, from fur bearers to big game. I have successfully taken all the animals in northern Ontario. In the off-season, well, guess what? I don't have an off-season. I'm out there fishing in the winter, cutting firewood, and preparing for our spring bear hunt or our fall bear hunt, moose hunts, whatever. My dream hunt would be to continue hunting with my children, friends, and my grandchild. The person who influenced me most over the years is my wife. I'm Ron Marcia, and that's my profile.
The boys usually take 2 weeks off. Fortunately, I can't do that. It's because I'm pretty well like a supervisor where I am and everything. So I usually take the 1 week off. And sometimes if I see the weather's going to be really crappy the next couple of days, I'll probably pack up and leave. And unfortunately, I left maybe a day early, and Carl had harvested a nice moose, and now he's basically blaming me for not helping him out. I don't know why.
Gary's an opportunist. Like he comes a day late when camp's set up. He goes home a day early before camp's broke. He's proven it year in year. We keep bringing him back just for the humor factor, I'm sure. Other than that, yeah, Gary, we got to have a talk with Gary.
I'm glad Gary shows up sometimes when we go hunting because it takes the heat off me, and it's quite more pleasant when Gary's around. Gary's quite the jokester, and he handles it really well.
As you notice, Rick still has all his fingers so far, but if everybody knows Rick, he's very accident prone, so
You never know when this knife may fly out of my hands.
Oh.
The best thing about shooting a moose up there is our surf and turf afterwards. It's a great time. We've had a number of grouse taken during the week with our bows.
Yeah, there's the recreational hunting we do, which is the bird hunting, which to me, I'm not much for the fishing. If the fishing's good and we're catching lots, great, but the other guys, they like going and fishing, they can fish.
Since I moved down south, we don't get the opportunity to eat fresh caught walleye very often. So this is a real treat.
Usually we have a couple of walleye in the freezer because we camped beside a lake, and now we got tenderloin. And that meal is to die for.
It's definitely not a hunt to lose weight on, put it that way. Like, we eat top line, like it's really good food. We eat all the grouse we can eat, and we still come close to getting our limit. Like, it's a really good hunt. I wouldn't trade this hunt for anything. Like, this is my one vacation of the year. This is the only thing that I will not miss.
Just Us Hunting would like to thank these great sponsors. Rescue 7, AEDs saves lives. Cold Fire Canada. Our mission, everyone gets home safe. Dynablast, industrial hot and cold pressure washers. APA Bows, choose your venom. The Archery Place, offering you a wide range of archery products and services. Lake Huron Chrysler, bringing the fun back into buying a vehicle. Arctex Signs and Graphics. Howitzer Arrows, be the difference. The Bear Essentials, your wilderness experience guides.
If you have videos of your hunts and you'd like to see them on this show, go to our website, justushunting.com, and email us directly. Who knows, maybe you'll see your hunts right here on Just Us Hunting.
Starts getting rough, and I stop believing I'm not tough enough to